Melania Trump's dark past is surfacing, and a federal judge is warning Melania Trump, quit while you're ahead. Not just any federal judge, a Trump-appointed judge, Judge Viscasil, a federal judge in the Southern District of New York, who was presiding over a lawsuit filed by Michael Wolff, Donald Trump's former biographer, against Melania Trump after Melania Trump threatened to file a defamation lawsuit against Michael Wolff for billions of dollars if he didn't retract statements about her, which she says were false and defamatory regarding purported connections to Epstein. He sued her and said, "You're chilling my First Amendment free speech rights." He filed a lawsuit in state court. She removed the case to federal court, claiming something called diversity jurisdiction, and said it shouldn't be held in a state court. The case got miraculously appointed and sent to a Trump-appointed judge. And ultimately, this Trump-appointed judge, Viscasil, made a ruling. I don't have jurisdiction throughout Michael Wolff's case. And she basically said, this federal judge, to Michael Wolff, you have to wait until Melania sues you first, which, by the way, I don't think that's what the law is under New York's anti-SLAPP statute. And so the federal judge said, hey, Melania, you going to sue him for defamation? Because if you do, then take it outside of this courtroom, but otherwise I don't have jurisdiction right now. You can't sue Melania before she sues you. And I believe Melania doesn't want to sue Michael Wolff because she doesn't want to go through discovery and have her depositions taken. But one of the things that Melania just said to this federal judge, Judge Viscasil, is, maybe I'm not going to sue Michael Wolff for defamation, but I want sanctions because you just dismissed this case for having no jurisdiction and you threw it out of court. And this Trump-appointed judge is like, Melania, what the hell are you doing? Basically, like, you realize I did you a little solid there. You know, I held this up from February until till last month. I sat on it. I diffused this case. Do you see what I did for you, Melania? You know, if you seek sanctions against Michael Wolff, you have to show clear evidence that what he did was file his lawsuit against you on a frivolous basis, and you may not have the evidence for that, Melania. So take my hint and just walk away, Melania. I dismissed this without jurisdiction. And so you have literally, I'll tell you what the judge wrote. This is literally a direct quote from Judge Mary Viscasil to Melania. I wonder if it's in the interest of the parties to continue litigating in this court. That's some code word language to Melania's lawyers, like, I did you a solid, get the heck out of here. I'm giving you my opinion. Of course, Viscasil said, Melania, you're going to have to prove clear evidence if you want sanctions against Michael Wolff. And then she said the following. This is what the federal judge said. I think sometimes people get so caught up in the fervor of the moment that they don't really stop and think about the cost-benefit analysis of motions that are contemplated and the burden you put the court to. Do you get what the judge is? The judge is speaking obviously in coded language to Melania and his lawyer. Do you realize the burden I have? I was appointed by your husband and you're making me go through these things, and I made some bizarro jurisdictional order to dismiss this case, Melania, and now you're going to force the issue again. What the hell are you and your lawyers doing? That's what Judge Viscasil is saying right there. But look, folks, I know Melania is going through a lot. She's been ditched by Donald Trump yet again, right? I mean, just think about Donald Trump when he gave that bizarro speech at Mount Rushmore, with all of the hail coming down before. You take a look at the list of people who were on the plane. Natalie Harp was there, Donald Trump's human printer. That's what they call her, Trump's human printer. Lots of people call her Trump's something else, but that's who Donald Trump's spending a lot of time with, Melania. You know how on Donald Trump's, on his schedule lately, it's been like executive time. And then Donald Trump would put a policy meeting. Oh, okay, but with the human printer, I guess so. As Adam Parkamenko says, no Melania, where is she on the eve of the nation's 250? if her name was Jill or Michelle or Hillary, the White House press would be asking, where the hell are they? So why aren't they asking this with Melania? Oh, and by the way, Eric Trump has previously said Natalie Harp is a legend. He thinks that she's a legend. You know, things start getting bad for Melania when she has her fixer show up. Melania's fixer, Mark Beckman, he's ready to go. Melania Trump is the most incredible first lady ever. She's a policy wizard. Everybody respects Melania Trump. Melania's fixer's out there. You know, this guy only goes out there when Melania needs the big old guns. Watch, she really has a fixer named Mark Beckman. Here's what he has to say. Here, play this clip.
Well, you know, Mark, the Trump accounts are great. My daughter's Trump account will be depositing starting this weekend. I'm excited about that. But tell us why Fostering the Future became an extension of that program and why this was important to the First Lady.
Well, look, you mentioned it. This is the most active, the most productive, the most direct vision for a first lady, I think, in history of America. On the private sector side, it's kind of interesting, Bo, right? The country embraced her to create this #1 movie, Melania, worldwide. The book went to #1 New York Times seller. She took all of that energy now and she's applying it to American children.
You know, and then they plant ridiculous stories like this. I want this on Donald's desk. Inside Melania Trump's ambitious policy-making agenda. All right, this is why people think that like these types of stories are so dumb. Inside her political policy, ambitious. What's her ambitious agenda? What are you even talking about? What has Melania said? Being such a high, successful person like me and being such a, what does she call herself? You know, being a visionary. That's what it was. I am a visionary and it is a heavy burden to be a visionary. It's locker room talk as a visionary, right? That's what she says. When First Lady Melania Trump wanted to host a bipartisan roundtable on Capitol Hill this spring to advocate for her Fostering the Future legislation, one Republican thought it wasn't a good idea. He was fearful. Would Democrats really like her in the room? But Trump was undeterred. Melania had been discussing the roundtable since November when Donald Trump signed a Fostering the Future executive order, pause, with no effect because these executive orders aren't law. The roundtable was convened and then half a dozen members went behind closed doors. And she says, I want this on Donald Trump's desk by August. Okay, good luck. Good luck with that, Melania, because Congress right now doesn't do any work at all. And, but Melania's, she did make $17 million. I mean, let's just talk about what everyone was talking about. Donald Trump made at least $2 billion. Let's talk about what's really going on here, folks. Melania made $17.2 million on Trump's financial disclosures. You can see it. That's probably just the tip of the iceberg. $10.7 million on the movie Melania. Then $6 million from those NFTs. You know, there's Melania NFTs. You saw the Melania meme coin like crash right away. But Melania did $6 million on NFTs, everybody. That's what this is all about, folks. Oh, she licensed her book for $500,000. And Melania did a total of like $17.2 million. And guess what, Melania? Amanda Ungaro ain't letting you. Amanda Ungaro, Paolo Zampoli's ex-girlfriend, mother of Zampoli's child, who was brought here by the Epstein crew and trafficked here. She says that she knows a lot of secrets about you, Melania. She says she knows your dark past and she's posting videos of you and she's giving it. I just have a question for you, Melania. Why don't you sue Michael Wolff for defamation like you threatened if you think he defamed you and you're just going for something like that? That raises lots of red flags, Melania. You just think the judge that your husband appointed is going to do you a solid because she dismissed the case for jurisdictional reasons, which, by the way, in my view, Wolff probably still is able to bring the case because it was just a jurisdictional order. But we'll see what Wolff decides to do. But the judge is telling you, Melania, stop it. Stop. You really want to get discovery, Melania, into your dark past? No, Melania says that all of the photos with Jeffrey Epstein and with Ghislaine and the emails, they're all fake. It's fake news. It's fake news. It's fake news. And she says, we must teach our children. Her big initiative is teaching children AI. By like all of her like initiatives somehow involve like pushing AI on children. Right? Like the children need the AI. Sorry, I'm wandering and digressing. Okay. Amanda Ungaro, Paolo Zampoli. Zampoli was the guy who introduced Melania to Donald apparently in the late 90s at the Kit Kat Club. And he ran a modeling agency where he brought in young Eastern European girls and women, and he would introduce them to rich Manhattan men in the 90s. And then he introduced Melania to Donald. And as a result of that, you know, he's got close to Donald. He's an ambassador now to something, ambassador of events or some crap, and it embarrasses the United States every damn day. And so this was the video that was dropped by Amanda Ungaro. Happy 4th of July, Melania. Here, play this clip.
Melania's bizarre 6-minute statement last week, denying her connection to Jeffrey Epstein, sparked internet rumors that were soon a breaking story the Trump administration was hoping to get in front of. In her interview with Courier, her first interview with an English language media outlet, Amanda Ungaro answered some of our most pressing questions. Ungaro says her story began when she was just 15 years old, when she first met Paolo Zampoli, a businessman with deep ties to both Donald and Melania Trump. She says he pursued her relentlessly, eventually pulling her into a relationship that would define and control her life. According to Ungaro, Zampoli was an operator in the modeling underworld, someone who arranged visas, managed models, and moved people through powerful networks behind the scenes. Through him, she met Melania and Epstein and Donald Trump. Ungaro says Zampoli had ties to Jeffrey Epstein, although he denies this, and that he acted as a recruiter of young women like her. She also suggests that stories about relationships within this circle, including Melania's, were shaped by influence and long-term planning. Ungaro describes years of alleged abuse, psychological, physical, and sexual. She claims she was surveilled, followed, and controlled. She says their home was filled with hidden devices and that her life became something closer to captivity than partnership. In public, she was close to the most powerful people in America. Zampoli was so tight with Trump that the couple sat at the Trump table at both inaugurations and spent holidays with the Trump family, attended events at the White House and gatherings at Mar-a-Lago. But that proximity to power did not help when Ungaro says Zampoli had her deported to Brazil and separated from her son. She is caught in an ongoing legal battle. She says Melania ignored her plea for help, and she says she's willing to testify before Congress. Melania's 6-minute statement may have been an attempt to shut something down, but it also might have revealed the weak link in the Epstein cover-up.
Well, there you have it, everybody. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.